Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffe Kennedy, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee and my hummingbird friend. Delicious. Today is Monday, July 25th. I am back in the saddle, at least temporarily. I am refreshed from my vacation for the most part. You know the joke about how you need a vacation to recover from your vacation? But we had fun. It was a lovely time. Enjoyed it very much. And it was good just to take a break from things. But busy catching up as always. And I don't know what all I have to say. I didn't make notes today. I've started using TikTok a little bit. I've been playing with it, putting up little reels. And a friend asked me if I was going to post a podcast to TikTok. And she said, there's mosquito buzzing around here. She said, you can put up to 10 minutes now on TikTok. She said, are you thinking about doing that? And I'm like, I'd have to confine the podcast to 10 minutes, which I feel like I'd have to be succinct, which, let's face it, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. It might be good for me to be more succinct, but I don't know. It comes back to my whole measurement of like when the podcast becomes more of a pain to do uh, than a pleasure. So, um, so yeah, I paused you so you wouldn't have to watch me kill the mosquito. In case any of you are tender-hearted enough to worry about the mosquitoes, are the one thing that I don't mind whacking. So let's see. Um, this week will be kind of funny because I am here podcasting today and tomorrow. Um, Wednesday, I fly to DC for a Polycon. Very interested to see how a Polycon goes. I'm excited to see my friends. That it's starting to hit me that I'm going to see these people I haven't seen since 2019 or before. A lot of them, it was RWA convention in July 2019. I saw a funny thing. David found this kind of bizarre movie from 1990 on Paramount Plus called the boyfriend the boyfriend something. I think if you look for the boyfriend, you'll find it. Um, Boyfriend test, boyfriend experiment, something like that. Um, with Shelley Long and Steve Guttenberg and Erin. She was in a lot of those late '80s movies. Hang on, The Boyfriend School, and it's Jamie Gertz, who was in 16 Candles and The Lost Boys. So, what's funny is, so the movie was originally released back then, back in 1990, as Don't Tell Her It's Me. And I don't think I ever saw it. Uh, it's from the book called The Boyfriend School, which apparently that title tested badly. But then when they re-released on DVD, they went ahead and went with that because apparently Don't Tell Her It's Me was an even worse title, which I think The Boyfriend School is a good title. Anyway, this movie got so panned, and we're finding it funny. Uh, I don't know why people hated this movie so much, but the interesting part, I promise there is an interesting part. See, this is why I couldn't do this in 10 minutes, right? Admittedly, might be a good idea, just not going to happen. Uh, Shelley Long plays a romance author. And while there are a few cringe-worthy lines here and there, for the most part, it's a solid defense of being a romance author. Jamie Gertz comes in as a journalist making disparaging comments about at this conference that says Romance Writers of America. And it's all of this. There's the banner that says Romance Writers of America, and on one of the author tables there's the Harlequin brand. So I feel like the movie makers must have gotten permission to use this stuff, but there's nothing in the trivia. I'm gonna have to do some research and find out, was this an actual RWA conference that this movie filmed this scene at. There are things that seem not RWA, that seem more like RT, but it could be that RWA was like this in the late 80s. You know, if the film came out in 1990, it could have been one of those conventions in the late 80s. And maybe they were like that because they had like a male model walking around basically wearing a thong. That was RT, but not RWA. So I'm going to hit up some of my older RWA ladies and see what they say. Yeah, I want to know what they think. And then if I find out that it was, this may be what finally catapults me into logging into IMDb and creating an identity just so I can upload that trivia. And then I might have to go in and like counter some of these horrible reviews. I think people trashed it largely because of the romance. I mean, it's not a brilliant movie, but it's certainly far better than many, and it has a promising romance. We didn't finish watching, but I'm interested to see how it goes. But it's funny seeing the RWA stuff in there. Oh, and Jamie Gertz comes in talking to Shelley Long and doesn't realize that Shelley Long is interviewing her as a potential love interest for her brother, Steve Gutenberg, who is recovering from treatments for Hodgkin's disease. So he's bald and puffy. I think apparently this is sort of like how time moves, right? uh, I did read in the trivia that at the time, Steve Gutenberg had played entirely suave roles up until then, like in Three Men and a Baby, and I don't remember what all. But and that this was the first time that he, you know, here he's being bold and puffy and kind of a recluse and unhappy. And it's funny because I do not think of Steve Gutenberg as a suave guy. Um, and I think that's because later he leaned more into being pitiful loser guy. So perhaps I'm more um, willing to accept that than audiences were at the time. I also saw when I was trying to look up who the little girl is who plays Shelley Long's daughter, who's like 3. Uh, and actually does kind of a brilliant job of it. She's this very solemn little girl who were apparently a pair of twins. But oh, let's see what led me down that path. I was trying to remember while I was looking it up. Oh, I found like this LA Times review of the movie that mentioned this little girl's name, Susan Lund, I think. She must have been someone's daughter, you know. Well, of course she's someone's daughter, but not a professional actress. I think this was the only thing she ever did, and it was like, you know, like the costume designer's daughter, that kind of thing. So the this scathing review written by a woman, which I've always feel like is telling, um, really slammed the romance aspects. But then she also said that they failed to take advantage of the beautiful Charleston location. And I thought, really? That's a criticism of the movie, that they didn't choose to show the pretty Charleston, South Carolina stuff, but instead chose some of the more rural landscape? Anyway, I didn't mean, see, this is why we can't do 10 minutes of this, because I just spent almost 10 minutes talking about this movie. Anyway, we'll see if I can upload this to Instagram. I haven't tried obviously in a week. So I was giving you my schedule. Going to a Polycon on Wednesday. Um, Thursday and Friday, maybe I'll do some podcast interviews. Maybe not. It'll be potluck. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe having a podcast interview with somebody will be unlucky. You never know. Um, and then I come back on Sunday, and next Monday I have dun 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 jury duty, magistrate court. They think it'll only take 1 day, but they'd summoned me at the beginning of summer, and I'd said, "Well, I have travel," and they came back, which I thought was interesting, and asked for documentation of my travel dates, like hotel stays and plane tickets. And they had a nice interface on the website where I could upload those documents. So I sent them, here's my travel schedule, here's my plane tickets and hotel stays. And so then I got a notice that I have to appear on August 1st. And I was like, you all are correct. I will be in town. So it'll be interesting. I've been called for jury duty before, never in New Mexico, but I've never served. I always get dismissed. I'm apparently not an ideal jury member, probably because I think it would be interesting to do. So, like no cell phones, nothing like that. So I will be out of contact next Monday. Try not to set the world on fire without me, people. And after that, it should be a fairly normal ish schedule for a little while, hoping to get back into making progress on Shadow Wizard. I've been looking at the covers, going through the cover iterations with my fabulous cover artist, Robin. And it's so cool. I just love this cover. Um, just love this cover. The model she found for Jedrin is perfect. So it was interesting. I wrote on Monday, and then I just decided I was kind of pondering it, I think, on the podcast last week. But I just decided to take the rest of the week off writing. I decided it would be more stressful than anything trying to get my word count in. And it would have been. So I did do some um, pondering on the drive, thinking about just some businessy things. And so while I was there, I did work on some businessy things. I researched a couple of things. And one thing I'm going to do, and this feels like a big transition for me, a milestone for me. I realize that it is not for other people, but for me, it's kind of a big deal. Not many people know this, but I'm kind of a big deal. Love that line. Thank you, Jim Sorensen, for pointing it out to me from Cheers. So I'm going to, I think, use Smarter Q. Smarter Q as in making a line, to schedule social media posts. And this is a transition for me because I have never used a scheduler. I have always believed that social media should be authentic and in the moment, and that I should engage directly, hence this podcast. And I did like the idea of scheduling. I've always thought that social media should not be like a billboard, but I'm feeling like things have changed, that there are aspects of all of the social media platforms that are like billboards, that there's room for both. And I really need to get into promoting my backlist more. Um, and so Smarter Q will apparently allow me to uh, schedule on all the social media platforms, and I can just put up evergreen posts to promote the backlist. Um, and and that's what I'm going to do, so that that stuff's just always out there. Because what I'm finding is that my whole thing about posting in the moment and so forth, that it creates this sorry, I just had an idea of something I want to do on Instagram. But because I do the podcast in the morning, I exercise, do the podcast, get this uploaded, try not to look at social media as I upload it. Don't look at email. Write, get my words in while my brain is still fresh. Then I come out and deal with email, social media, SIFWA business, business of life. Uh, that is when I would like do other kinds of social media posting. Problems with this are it's not necessarily the ideal time to post. Um, and I'm not necessarily full of bouncy social media energy at the end of the day. And I consulted a few other people. That was part of what I was doing when I was, like downtime at the resort when everybody else was sleeping off being in the casino all night. I got on some of my author groups and stuff and just asked people what they use. And it's a thing because people were like, yeah, end of the day, I'm just not social media friendly. And you know the world has changed, right? It's amazing to think about how long it's been. um, we were talking about someone who I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. We were talking about this gal and I said, that person's someone to keep an eye on because they had a big social media meltdown. And I went to look up the links on it, and it was 2009. 2009. So 13 years ago. And so so I added to it. I said, here's what's happened. Here's what the person, got into. And I said, and it's entirely possible that my memory is way too long. Um, because wow. But that is one of those things, is that people don't forget. And I said, I don't believe that people should be held accountable forever for a mistake like that. But this person did not handle the social media meltdown well, um, threatening to call the FBI on readers who had given their books bad reviews. It was like a little on the emotionally wonky side. And I said, it could be, it was a bad time, a one time thing, but just keep an eye on this person. And, it's been my point, and I do have one, is that it has been a long time. Uh, when we first started using social media, I think I got on Twitter in 2009. Um, Facebook might have been like 2007, and it was mostly to promote my blog. So I think, that is the thing, is that we have to continue to roll with the times. And um, so that's going to be a big thing that I'm going to do. It's SmarterQ, you have to pay for, but I've been thinking about paying for a publicist. And instead, I'm going to pay for this. And I'm also going to set up a blog tour for Shadow Wizard. Um, so that'll be interesting. And other news is Rogue's Possession releases tomorrow. So um, how could I forget? So yeah, release day tomorrow, and exciting changes for some of these businessy things. I'm excited to implement these particular tools and see how this works for me. Um, One thing that's going to happen with that SmarterQ is there's going to be some ramp up, right? I'm going to have to spend some time getting all of that stuff queued up, as it were. Uh, but otherwise, I hope to get a full writing week this week. I hope that's not unreasonable. Uh, I'm glad I didn't write last week. Now I need to get my head back in the book. Uh, I don't leave till Wednesday afternoon, so fingers crossed, I should have 3 good writing days. And then a Polycon stuff doesn't start till Thursday night, so I should have good writing time Thursday morning. And then also Friday morning, I don't have anything until that afternoon. So, thinking good thoughts that I'm not distracted by other stuff uh, should work out. So, regardless, I will be here in the garden tomorrow morning, and it's nice to talk to you all again. Uh, I would say I missed you, but it's kind of weird because I don't hear. I mean, I guess I get your comments and stuff. So, but yeah, it's nice to be back on the podcast. Nice to be back in my garden, if only for a few days. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. You all take care. Bye bye.